Welcome to part 38 of this journal. I'll be going over a few ideas, but first need to address something about a code I found in my initial FIAT LVX video. In it, I explain how the sonnet numbers 9, 10, 18, 122, and the catchword "or" are printed with a dot or point. Using gematria, I figured out how these numbers are equivalent to the letters Y, I, H, I, and K, I. The word "or" is like a fulcrum and is used by both sets of letters. You can see the second 2 in Sonnet 122 has been altered, a clue that something's here. The first part of the message is Hebrew, and when we read it right to left like Hebrew, we get the letters Y, I, H, I, and K, I. Sharing the catchword "or," the first part of the message is Yehi or, which is Hebrew for "Fiat lux" or "Let there be light." The second part of the message is Kairo. In Greek, the letter Chi is spelled C-H-I and Rho is R-H-O. And Yehi is sometimes spelled Y-E-H-I. What's going on here is, this is a reflection of Genesis chapter 1, verse 3. God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. These letters are the pronunciation of that verse. In Greek, the letter K is kappa, but when you pronounce K-I, it sounds like Chi, C-H-I. Kairo are the first letters of Christ's name. Christ is the light, so when you pronounce these letters, Yehi or Kairo, you're saying, "Let there be light," and there was light. Letters for the word God are also here. The first 2 letters of Sonnet 122, where the message begins, are 2-letter T's. Thy is spelled T-T-H-Y. The message is in Hebrew and read right to left, or in reverse compared to Latin. Notice how the first letter, when reversed, looks like a Greek letter gamma, or G. Combined with the following letter T, we get GT, gamma tau. In his video, Where is Shakespeare Really Buried?, Alexander Waugh also uses the gamma tau character, seen here at the bottom of the page. So if we read everything in order, beginning with the gamma tau letters in Sonnet 122, we get the words from Genesis chapter 1, verse 3. Gamma tau Yehi or Kairo, or God Fiat LVX KRISTOS. Again, for Christians, Christ is the light. Saying the letters spelling Yehi or Kairo out loud is equivalent to saying, "Let there be light," and there was light, basically imitating God's first spoken words. The H isn't necessary with the or Rho because it's meant to be spoken out loud and is part of another code. In Monas Hieroglyphica, John Dee uses the Kabbalistic methods of gematria, notaricon, and ziruf. The same is applied here in the sonnets and explained in the first video. 6 letters are going to be used to spell something. 4 of them come from the first letters of the marked sonnets and 2 letters from the marked catchword "or." If an H is added, we don't get the rest of the message, which is a signature. By applying notaricon, we have the first letters of each marked sonnet and the catchword "or." In order, the letters are I-F-O-R-S-T. Then applying ziruf, which I refer to as Tamura in the first video, we unscramble the letters and get F-Rosy-T, which stands for Fratris Rosicrucis, Fraternity of the Rosy Cross. Applying ziruf again, and we get the Latin word forties. Alexander Waugh explained how Edward de Vere was the 4th T in 1740. And I'm going to assume you've seen his videos and have heard these terms before. So we have a signature, 4Ts, meaning 4T, or Edward de Vere, and F Rosy T, the Brotherhood of the Rosy Cross. The names of the same person and group are also found in the sonnet's byline, the Golden Rosy Cross, and a pronunciation of Vere's name, explained in the 8th video. We also get Edward de Vere connected to the phrase, "Let there be light," in the 1611 King James Bible. After God says, "Let there be light," followed by a colon, there are 17 lines to the end of the column. The next column is 40 lines with the last word being over. with a comma from the preceding line printed over the letter O. An O with an accent is a way of spelling the word of. In French and Spanish, of is pronounced de. O with an accent, ver, is of Vere, or in French, de Vere. Let there be light, 1740, de Vere. And I don't think that happened by chance. Below the number for verse 17 are 4 letters, with the 4th being a letter T, 17-4T. Looking at the same column, counting the lines, the 17th lands on verse 12. As I've explained many times, in Latin the 12th letter is M. In Hebrew, this letter is equivalent to 40. 17th line, verse number 12 or 40 is 1740. Then we count the words. Beginning on line 17, verse 12 or 40, there are 40 words before the word were, which stands out on the page because of the way it's typeset. A W is comprised of 2 V's, and the word were, or Vere, double V Vere, is sometimes used in codes for de Vere's name. After Vere are 17 lines. Again, starting on line 17, there are 40 words, then the word were, or Vere, followed by 17 lines till the end of the column. On the opening page of Genesis, followed by the words Fiat Lux, the first words spoken by God are 17 lines, then 40 lines, ending with of Vere or de Vere, as well as other examples of 1740. I believe this was all done by design to indicate that Edward de Vere had a hand in the translation of the King James Bible. In one of his videos, Alexander Waugh was able to demonstrate that if you rotate the page of the Sonnet's dedication and draw a line around the outside of the words, it makes a pattern in the shape of a funerary urn. The sonnets were published in 1609, and I believe Edward de Vere may have lived until 1608, possibly early 1609. This explains how there were more Shakespeare plays published after de Vere's supposed date of death in 1604, and how it would have been possible for him to have worked at least in part on translating the Bible. Now, Waugh found this pattern of de Vere's funerary urn by rotating the page. The page is blank on the other side. I held the flipped or rotated page up to a light and saw that the 2 initials appear as 2 letter L's. With gematria, L is equal to 11. 2 L's are twice 11. So what's twice 11 doing in the light here? In the Bible, it said that when Jesus was crucified, a titulus crucis, Latin for title of the cross, was inscribed in wood and placed over his head. The Gospels vary slightly on the exact wording, but in the Gospel of John it reads, Jesus of Nazareth, King of the Jews. In the Gospels of John and Luke, it said it was written in 3 languages, Hebrew, Greek, and Latin, what John D. in Monas Hieroglyphica refers to as the 3 primary languages. In Hebrew, the 22nd letter is Tav or T. In Greek, the 22nd letter is Chi or X, and in Latin, it's the letter Y. Each of these letters are the shapes of crucifixes. The titulus crucis is written in Hebrew, Greek, and Latin, and in each of those languages, 22 or twice 11s equal to a crucifix or cross-shaped letter. The connection between the languages on the titulus crucis and the numerical values of the crucifix-shaped letters in each of those languages is why I think there's a good chance that twice 11 brethren means Brotherhood of the Cross, which may have been another name referring to the Fraternity of the Rosy Cross. So if twice 11's a cross, when you hold the sonnet's dedication up to a light, the 2 L's equal to twice 11 can be representing an illuminated cross. Unlike the Fiat LVX KRISTOS code, I'm not saying for certain that holding a page up to a light and viewing the initials like this is what was intended, but it does coincide with the meaning of that message. Let there be light, and there was light. the light being Jesus Christ, whose symbol is a cross. Throughout the Shakespeare works, I found references to the Golden Rosy Cross, the Fraternity of the Rosy Cross, and what may be called the Brotherhood of the Cross, if that's what twice 11 brethren means. I haven't explained this one before, so I'm going to do it now. The first sonnet begins with the letter F, then R printed over a letter T. Those letters stand for Fratres Rosicrucis, or Brotherhood of the Rosy Cross. From the T to the italicized word rose are 19 letters. The 19th letter of the Latin alphabet is T, or tau. In Hebrew, tau is tav, and is the 22nd letter. Here, though, it's the 19th. Rose, 19 letters, T, or tau, is rose tau, or rose cross. I first found twice 11 brethren as an acrostic in the 1611 King James Bible. The epistle dedication in the First Folio begins with the words, "To the most noble," followed by 22 letters, then the word brethren. Also in the First Folio, Sean O'Donovan discovered that the word brethren is printed 22 times. So it does seem like it's referring to an organization, though I'm not suggesting it's their actual name. I also think there may have been allusions to twice 11 in the dedications from Venus and Adonis and Lucrece, the first published works of Shakespeare, which I cover in video 36. If I'm right, it means it could have been an idea as early as 1593. Though I believe twice 11's the 22nd letter in Hebrew, Greek, and Latin, and that those letters are in the shapes of crosses or crucifixes, there might be more to it. A while ago, Alexander Wass sent me some information about the pillars of Freemasonry. There are the pillars Jachin and Boaz, but there's another set called the pillars of Enoch. One was metal, containing all the knowledge and wisdom before the great flood, and the other was marble with an inscription detailing where the treasure vault of Enoch was. Another account is that on the first pillar was placed all the knowledge of the arts and sciences, and on the second pillar was mathematical wisdom, including the 47th proposition of Euclid. Through the pronunciation of the lost word, the knowledge on the two pillars could be restored. The idea here is that a set of pillars resembles an 11. Twice 11 could be two sets of pillars, Jachin and Boaz and the pillars of Enoch. Something else Wass sent was from David Roper's book, How Science Proved Edward de Vere Was William Shakespeare. In the book, Roper argues that 1717 may also represent 1111, on the basis that, in Latin, the number 17, septem decim, is 11 letters. I've pointed out that with the repeated count, 34, or 17 and 17, is equal to 2 letter L's. With gematria, L's equal to 11, and 2 L's are twice 11. The first Freemasonic Grand Lodge was officially founded in 1717. Was this year chosen because Edward de Vere was the 17th Earl of Oxford, and 1717's equal to twice 11? Chris Johnson sent me this portrait of Alexander Pope, who was a Freemason alive in 1717. Often Pope is seen making hand gestures in his portraits, and here Chris saw that his left hand appears to be making what looks like a 2 and an 11. Maybe someone familiar with these gestures knows exactly what it means, but it could be a sign indicating twice 11 brethren. As far as I know, the Templars were founded in 1118. Paul Oldman commented that author Tracy Twyman claims they were founded in 1111. I believe the book's called Baphomet, the Temple Mystery Revealed. I haven't read it, so I don't know what evidence her theory is based on. If it's true, then twice 11 could be a way of acknowledging the year the Templars were founded. I believe this Rosicrucian or Freemasonic group were Christian Kabbalists, and something else equivalent to 22 are the number of paths on the Kabbalistic tree of life. A A few months ago, Dale Slattery commented about a video by Robert Bauval who explains that the Great Pyramid was based on an 11 by 11 grid. Bauval also says that when you study the geometry of the pyramid shafts, they produce 121, which is 11 times 11. The pyramid shafts are closed off with small doors, and when they were able to look behind one of them, they saw hieroglyphs. Translated, they read 1, 20, and 100, totaling 121. Again, that's 11 times 11. Speaking of 121, there's a twice 11 code in Sonnet 121, covered in the addendum to Video 21. Something else interesting about all this is the connection between the Egyptian mystery schools and secret societies. Alan Green believes mathematical constants were encoded into the structure of the Great Pyramid, and that these constants appear on the cover of the sonnets. If the twice 11 were a secret society who inherited knowledge from the Egyptian mystery schools, could twice 11 also be referring to the 11 by 11 structure that Robert Bauval says the Great Pyramid was based on? One more idea I have on the name twice 11 Brethren is partly based on something John Dee says in Monas Hieroglyphica. In Theorem 16, shortly after explaining that two L's form a cross, he exclaims, "Oh my God, how profound are these mysteries!" And the name L is given to this letter. L-E-L is the Hebrew word for God, and here D associates it with the letter L. A very important name that begins with L is Elizabeth. Elizabeth was the Virgin Queen. If she was a virgin and had any progeny, who else but God could be the father? L is equal to 11, so could twice 11 brethren be referring to the children of Elizabeth, the Virgin Queen, and El, the Hebrew word for God? This might include Edward de Vere and possibly Francis Bacon, who may have been the other Shakespeare, becoming the leader of the organization and overseer of the Shakespeare Project after de Vere's passing. People found Bacon codes in the First Folio, but they've missed the 1740s that go along with them. I think Peter Amundsen found these Bacon acrostics. This one's from the first part of King Henry IV and is on page 47, misprinted as 49. He has the acrostic as FBACO. The N, he says, comes from the letter U in our. A U is an upside-down lowercase n. I disagree with this letter being part of the code, and I'll explain that in a moment. Then, demarcated by commas, as codes sometimes are the words cousin and at Windsor. The first thing I want to address is the letter N. This is the Hebrew letter Aleph, equivalent to the Latin letter A. As you can see, it's two lines with a diagonal drawn similar to the Latin letter N. Take a moment and look, and you'll see what I mean. The letter after FBACO is A. Aleph, the Hebrew letter for A, looks similar to the Latin N and is used here, giving us an acrostic reading along the margin of F. Bacon. I think this works better than the U and R being an upside-down N, and as you'll see, it's going to add more to the code. Remember, D uses Greek, Hebrew, and Latin, and there's only a few letters that can be used this way. For example, the letter P can sometimes stand for an R because the Greek rho or R resembles the Latin letter P. Again, there's only a handful of letters that work like this. The page has been misprinted as 49 when it should be 47. The letters of the name Vere happen to total 47, but 47 is also 7 plus 40, and 740 would be de Vere's king and code number. Below the acrostic for Bacon, on line 17, is the word for, and below that is the letter T, 174T. Altogether we have 174T, also F. Bacon, cousin at Windsor. And there's one more thing. The last letter in the Bacon acrostic is the letter A, which in Hebrew looks like an N. After it, the letters on that line are ND followed by FORT, ND 4T. With gematria, the letter N is equal to 13 and D is equal to 4. 13 and 4 is 17. So ND 4T is 1740. And typeset directly above that is the word king. King 1740. I don't know if it's still the case, but Chris Johnson explained that in the past, royals sometimes addressed each other as cousin. Could the words Bacon, cousin at Windsor, and King 1740 be telling us that Francis Bacon and Edward de Vere were royals? In his video, Sweet Swan of Avon, Emerson shows this famous Bacon acrostic on page 2 of The Tempest. He explains a lot on the page, but I just want to focus on the name. The letters spelling Bacon total 33, and above and below line 33 are the letters F, then B-A-C-O-N. In addition to that, I found beginning with line 17, count 22 or twice 11 lines, and there are a total of 4 T's. Below that fourth T is the word obey. It's been suggested that this acrostic, T obey, is an allusion to Toby Matthews, a friend of Francis Bacon's, but I think it means something else. As you know, the letter Y is pronounced E. I think T obey is an allusion to the words to be from the famous Shakespeare quote, to be or not to be. 2 is a homophone of the number 2 and B is the second letter. To be is 22 or 22. So along with the F. Bacon acrostic, beginning with the T on line 17, count 22 or twice 11 lines, and there are 4 T's. The fourth T begins another code that's pronounced to be, which is equivalent to 2 and 2 or 22, which is also twice 11. Something else about the words to be is that the letters T-O-B-E add up to 40. Kind of an interesting coincidence that to be is equivalent to both twice 11 and 40. I've been intending on making a video about a possible hidden meaning within the words to be or not to be. I'll get around to it when I can. Amundsen's pointed out another Bacon acrostic at the bottom of page 143 in Love's Labour's Lost. 3 is equal to the letter C, BA3 or C-O-N. I found on the other side of the page 144 in the second column, the 12th line begins with Vere or Vere. Since the 12th letter in Latin's M, which is equal to 40 in Hebrew, I believe 12 is a cipher for 40. Notice it's printed just below 3 T's. Maybe Vere is the 4th T. Now if you count all the words from the beginning, Vere is the 76th. I've shown in previous videos that using gematria, the letters for Oxford add up to 76. Also using gematria, T is equal to 19. 4 T's add up to 76. So printed below 3 T's, Vere, the 76th word, really might be the 4th T, making Vere typeset to 4T 3 times. Lastly, on these 17 lines, I found what I think is another example of Bacon and Oxford codes on page 33 of The Two Gentlemen of Verona. Starting from the catchword at the bottom corner, the word is pro, which in Latin can be for, F-O-R. Now we read the letters of the left side acrostic. After for are the letters T-I-S, giving us the word forties. The next letters are F-B for Francis Bacon, followed by E-A, which is the Latin abbreviation for et al., meaning and others. After that are the words I am that I am. Only Edward de Vere and Shakespeare were known to have used those words during that time. Next are the letters F-R-T, T is tau, meaning a cross, so the letters stand for Fratres Rosicrucis, or Fraternity of the Rosy Cross. And then it ends with 4 T's, which is the 17th line of this acrostic. 17 4T. I'm going to close with an idea I have about a possible additional meaning for 1740, inspired by this Rosicrucian diagram of Sophia. Anyone who might be watching this video that studies spiritual alchemy might be able to understand all the symbolism going on here, but I want to focus on the letters in the delta. Arum, spelled here A-R-I-M, is the Latin word for gold, spelled A-U-R-U-M. When I saw this, I realized that the word arum is a homophone of 2 letters, R-M. In Latin, R is equal to 17, and in Hebrew, M is equal to 40. Among other things, could the numbers 1740 be equivalent to the letters RM, which is a homophone of arum, meaning gold? And could it be referring to the alchemical process of transforming base metals into gold, possibly indicating someone who's attained perfection? Seeing Oxford here, decked out in all this gold, is likely a coincidence, but throughout the history of secret societies, perfection is the goal. This can be accomplished through the process of spiritual alchemy, which is transforming one's base metals into gold. Could 1740 RM represent perfection? Could it be the gold in the golden and rosy cross, or be referring to a level or status in the same way that king might? Anyway, it's just an idea I had, and I don't know if there's anything to it, but I am certain of the Fiat LVX KRISTOS message in the marked sonnet numbers. Twice 11 Brethren seems to be a nickname for a secret society, but there may be more to it. Thanks to everyone who suggested additional meanings. Hopefully one day we'll get it all sorted out. As always, thanks to Alexander Waugh, Chris Johnson, and Ron Raffel, and to you for watching.